Hey guys, it's Patty from Patty's Crafty Spot, and I'm here to share with you a design team project I made for Country Craft Creations. And real quick, a lot of the album, what I feature is the Heartfelt Creations album tags and accent die, and I use this in a lot of fun ways in the album that you're going to see. So if you don't have this, you're going to want to run out and get it. And I also use the Graphic 45 Let It Be paper collection, which is absolutely stunning. So I could not wait to make a project with this. So let's get started. So this album is 9 by 10, and I do have a shaker cover that I made on the front that you can see. And that's the side, and then the back of it. And it is a pretty heavy album. For the shaker elements here, I did use some doodads from the shop as well as some stuff from my own stash. So I use that. So this one here is an album that I made that I'm kind of proud of. Sometimes when you make things, you're not always sure about like what you're going to think about it. But this one I was really proud of how it came out. Now this is a remake from an album that I made in 2019. And I did run into some issues with that album, such as the closures getting caught on each other. So I had to make some adjustments, and I thought about it, and I came up with some fun, unique things for it. So anyway, this is kind of like a two-section. Each side mirrors each other. And what I did was, to keep these parts here from getting caught up on each other, I actually made these acetate pages. So it will keep the stuff here from getting on each other, and then the book itself can slide and nothing is going to grab. So that's super cool. So I made a few of these, and then I used the sticker page. I had 2 sheets of the sticker page, so I just put them back to back, and then this will give me something that I can go ahead and open up the acetate pages with. So that way I don't get a lot of fingerprints on the acetate. But I didn't want to, put too much stuff on it because that will defeat the purpose of things catching. So anyway, so I have a little string closure, and I used a little bead charm from my stash. And it's something I've had for quite a while. So I had a bunch of little bead charms that I put on. The only thing I might do in the tutorial itself is maybe extend this here, because you can see it is getting kind of chunky, and the cover page here doesn't quite fit all the way because it did get bigger than it was. So right off the front, when you open it up, there is a section for some photo mats. So you got a big pocket right there. And you go ahead and open this way, just like this. Now there is another acetate page right here that is connected onto this side. So again, none of this stuff here is going to get hung up. And we open this up. And I created, using the Heartfelt Creations album tags and accent die, I went ahead and made these little flaps for my closures, just like that. And then I also used them to go ahead and make my waterfall pages. Now I did just put the pattern paper on the front. I haven't done the backs yet. I will do that later, but I wanted to go ahead and get a full walkthrough for you to show you. So they just lift up. And these will hold, I think my things are 4 by 3 3/4. So it will hold a cute size photo right there. And they flip up nice. Just like that. Super cute. It's amazing when you use the dies and stuff, how it just kind of adds a second kind of fun element to something. And then to keep it all closed, went ahead and created another string closure, just like that. And then we come over here and open up our acetate page. And then I have another one. They don't necessarily need string closures. I just kind of wanted to add them. The original that I had made had the string closures, so I just went ahead and recreated it the same. So right off the front here, you have some pockets to go ahead and add some photo mats to. And I went ahead and made my photo mats again with the die. And this is a little bit bigger of a photo. To hold a bigger photo, I think this is 4 3/4 by 3 3/4. And then we open up over here. Same thing again. Nice little pockets. And then I have pockets over on the side. This one here is attached. So if you didn't have all the pattern paper, you could definitely go ahead and add some photo mats right here for that. All right, and that's that one. Right, and then that opens up. We come over to here where I have a fun page. So this one here, let me get some photo mats. So you can go ahead and put photo mats in just like that into those pockets. And then we can lift up for all kinds of photo mats there. And then this part here, you can go ahead and just add some loose photo mats in here. And then the way it all folds up, just like this, you can keep everything contained. And then the closure here also does the same. So if you put anything inside, nothing is going to fall out there. And then I have another acetate page protecting all of this from jamming up. And then we open up here. And I use this to create bands to go ahead and hold it all together. And then if you open all this up right here, I added the pattern paper, but there's plenty of room to go ahead and add some photos and stuff to this cute little page. You know, I put my phone on silent, and it does not like to be on silent apparently because it's still dinging and chiming. And then we open up all the way to the back. I have another pocket up right here, as well as a fun stacked pocket. So you can put photos in like this, as well as some over just in the corners like that. Really cute. And if you need room for more photos, you can go ahead on the back of the flap for your envelope. Go ahead and add photos right there. So anyway, it all closes up like this. And then I will walk you through the other side over here. Okay, so I got my phone back on silent again. So let's go ahead and look at this side. So it mirrors the other side. So I'll just walk you through because I already told you about all the pages and stuff. But right here opens up. You get some photo mats. Nice pocket right there. Again, you can go ahead and put photos right there. And then we open up. And then this waterfall. The waterfall is so pretty. I think I like this waterfall design, not the pattern paper on it, kind of better than the other one, just because I like the background paper more too. So it opens up. And then I made like each side that matches. I did the same paper on both sides just so it kind of matched a little bit. Just like that. And then the acetate page again. I absolutely love how that came out. It fits nice too, so it actually lays nice and flat right on your page, and it was really easy to make. So I think I might do this more often in different albums, and you can definitely do it yourself in albums. It's super simple. When you watch the tutorial, you'll see how to do that, and you'll be like, oh, that's so simple. Hopefully you say that. That's what I said when I made it, at least. It's like, why didn't I think of that sooner? So again, over here, pockets. And again. And then over here, I didn't put anything on the back yet. I just left it simple. At least simple for now, because I probably could spend another week making all of the tags and photo mats to go into all the pockets. And I kind of, when I gave the sneak peek, I kind of told you guys this would be coming out Tuesday. So I wanted to try to keep it to the Tuesday, like I said. Now this one right here came out pretty. So I used the cut apart cards on here. And then what I did was I just cut out the image from here. So this is the actual image from it. And I just cut it out and then laid it over. And you can kind of see underneath that, right there, that is just the black cardstock underneath. And again, holds it all in there. Oops. Just like that. And then over here again, opens up. Lots of room for photos. Oops. All the brads I used are like different brads because I just grabbed brads from my stash. And then opens up here. All right, and then over here, another pocket. I just went ahead and stopped my video because it looked like I was starting to lag. I don't know why my videos are starting to do that now. It's so annoying. And lots of room for photos. So I think this half of the book ended up becoming my favorite one. And as you can see, the pages just flip over. Nice and flat. And nothing jams up. And then we just close it all up. So I will have a tutorial coming out shortly. It's going to take me a little bit to edit all the videos because it was quite a video process to make all, although it was super easy. And like I said, I might adjust the thickness of this part here just because you can see it's kind of pregnant looking. And it still doesn't even have photos in it. It's just the photo mats and stuff. Although if you were to take off the photo mats off the waterfall, just add photos, you would be fine. But I might increase that part a little bit. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little walkthrough. This album was so much fun to make, and it is a recreation. So I will leave a link down below to the original album that I made in 2019. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get started on our covers. So you're going to need 2 pieces, 9 by 10, and you're going to need 1 piece, 2.5 by 10. And we're going to go ahead and cover these. We are using the lay flat system that Tamara created, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So what you want to do is when you cut your cardstock to wrap your covers, you're going to want to cut them 2 inches bigger than your chipboard because you want to be able to have a 1-inch border all the way around. I will wrap one with you, and the other 2 are going to be wrapped identical. So I went ahead and grabbed my scoreboard, and I'm using my spacers. If you don't have spacers, you can also score at 1 inch. So if you didn't have the spacers, you could take and score at 1 inch, rotate it just once, and score at 1 inch again. And then that would give you basically an L shape, and you can go ahead and set this in that area. However, I have the spacers, so I'm just going to use them. And I have, let's back it up a little bit. So I already added score tape all the way around. Okay. Then making sure my paper is all the way up right into the corner and my spacers. I'm just going to set it down just like that. And just want to make sure that my tape is all the way pressed down. So I'm just going to go ahead with my finger, and I just like to follow along with the chipboard just to kind of get a little bit of a crease in it, so you can see that. And we're going to add score tape all around. You can use glue if glue is something that you prefer. Alright, so I went ahead and added my tape all around. Just get my knife. And now I'm just going to go ahead and cut back my corners. Now if you don't have any little tools, you're just going to go ahead and trim it back. So you can see I'm leaving a little bit of space right there. If you don't have that, all you're going to do is just take your scissors and cut at an angle as well. And trim these off. And last one. Okay. And then what I like to do is just go ahead and kind of break in those fibers. Alright, now I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm just going to go ahead and press it up against that chipboard. And fold it over. Like that, and just press it down. I'm going to rotate and do the opposite side. There we go. And then I'm just going to do the same thing to the other two sides. What I want to do first is in the corner here, just push it down so I don't have any bulk in the paper. Just like that. And then again, I'm just going to go ahead and flatten down. We want it as nice, as flat and smooth as possible so it doesn't get bulky. So you're going to do the same thing with the other two pieces. You're going to follow it exactly what I did. All right, and you're going to wrap the other two pieces just like that. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll be right back to show you where we're at next. All right, so I have all of my pieces covered, and I'm going to put them together. And you need to cut a piece that is 12 by 8. Did I measure that right? Yeah, 10's my height. So you measure, cut a piece that is 8 7/8. So it's just under the 9-inch mark. And we're going to go ahead and add these pieces. So we're going to start with the first one. Let me get some tape on this guy here. All right, so I have full tape on the back of this piece right here. And I'm going to put this in the center. So I'm going to get my centering ruler. and I'm going to use it as a guide. So this piece here, remember, is 2.5 inches, so 1 1/4 out, roughly, will be your center point. So if you're on your centering ruler, whoops, let me bring it more in frame. So it's 12 inches, 0 is the center, and I'm going to go out to 1 1/4, both sides. And that's where it's going to go. So let's take the tape off. Now this is going to be almost top and bottom, so when you put it on, just want to make sure none of this is going to show. So I'm just making sure it's not sticking up over here from when I ripped it. And let's see. So you see I still have some tape on it, so I didn't get it quite down far enough. So I'm just going to trim that up a little bit. So I'm going to go very lightly with my knife. So I'm only cutting the tape and not the paper. And if you use glue, you wouldn't have to really worry about it too much, but you can see I clean that up. And then same thing for this side. And that one much better. So there we go. So then now I'm going to go ahead and add these pieces, and I'm going to butt them right up, right against it, just like that. So let me add some tape. All right, so I added the tape to this piece instead, seeing how this piece is a little shorter than my books. I won't have to trim once I go ahead and put these pieces on. I did put score tape almost all the way up. You can see I'm leaving a very little space right there. And that's just because of the tape coverage on the covers. I don't really want to see the tape when the book opens and closes. So now I'm just going to make sure, again, anything hanging down, button it right up. And do the same thing with the other side. Again, you can see it is right there. So in that way, when the book opens like this, you're not going to see the tape. Or hopefully not see the tape. And again. Right up. And I'm going to get my bone folder, and I'm just going to lift a little so I can see where that crease line is. And then once I get it good, I'm just going to slowly keep working the book to break in those fibers. And I don't see any tape right there. And the other side. And I did good there too. I don't see tape there either. And there we go. And all set. We can go ahead and start creating now. All right, we're going to start, and this is going to be listed as page 1. So you need a piece that is 9.5 by 9.5, and you're going to put it in your scoreboard, and you're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 1 inch. Okay. And that's going to be for page 1. So we're going to start off by folding back on our score lines. And then I like to go in the reverse direction because this is how the page is going to flip. So you want it to be able to flip back and forth. All right, and we're going to add some tape. Just to the first 1/2 inch. Okay. And we're going to fold back. So let me just burnish this. And let me do the other one just so we have nice crisp lines. All right, so we're going to fold it back. This is where we're going to have a 1/2 inch gusset. We're going to fold it back, and let's grab our book. So right here is where it closes. We're attaching the page to this part of the book. And what I'm going to do is line it up, making sure I am going to be centered top to bottom. That looks good to me, and we're not all the way up, so you can see this little bit of this flap here. And we're good like that. So make sure, now it's going to overhang, but it won't when your book is together. So make sure you're even here, and you've got enough space here so it still closes. And then this will go up, and you can see it has a little step. So then when you flip and it's up all the way, it's right up to the edge, so it's not gonna be over because we're gonna put a bunch of stuff here, and that will keep it up. Nice. All right, so now we're going to do our page 2, and this piece is going to be 9.5 by 8 3/4. I already scored mine because I recorded the video, but I had a wrong measurement, so we're just going to start over. So you're going to put the 8 3/4 in your scoreboard. You're going to score at 1/2 inch, and you're going to score at 3/4 of an inch. And now you're going to go ahead. You're going to fold back on everything, so you have that 1/4 inch gusset. We're going to apply our tape. And we're basically going to create these very similar to a waterfall. So we're going to open it up, and we're going to fold back on it. So you got the 1/4 inch gusset, and we're going to put it right up against the other page part that we stuck down. And I'm just going to make sure I am even. Okay. And then I am all the way up against the edge there. And I'm going to remove my tape and stick it down. And then when it opens up like that, and that, and now you can see you have the little bit of step, and you have plenty of room here to go ahead and add to it. All right, and page 3 is going to be 9.5 by 8 1/4 with the 8 1/4 at the top of the scoreboard. This one, you're just going to score it a 1/2 inch. And that's it for that one. And fold back. Just like that. We'll burnish it down. And we're going to add our tape. Okay, and we're going to take our book. And so these are our 2 pages here. This one, obviously there's no gusset. We're going to fold it all the way back and we're going to stick it right up against that one right there. And let's make sure we're even. That looks good there. And all I'm doing is just making sure that it's going to line up even with the other pages. So it's how I make it line up. And give it a good fold down. And there you go. So then now, this is what you have. All like that. And now we're good to go ahead and start decorating and adding all kinds of fun things to this. I might, trying to think, there is a ton of room here. But I do know once I start adding things, this is going to get big. Just don't think it's going to get that big. So I think we're going to go ahead and do the same thing to the other side. So let's go ahead and create 3 more pages identical, and we're just going to stick them to this side over here. So yeah, so we're going to make 3 more pages, what we just did, and we're going to put them on this side. So you could even, the book right now has no direction, so we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So let's cut 3 more, what we just did. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and do the other side. So we just added these pages. I just recut the exact same measurements for page 1, 2, and 3. And it's easier for me to apply this on the left side, on the right side, so I'm just flipping it around. So we're going to start with page 1. That is 9.5 by 9.5. This one I scored at a 1/2 inch and at 1 inch. We're going to stick this one down, just like before. Making sure we're close but not up to it. That looks even to me. Stick this one down. And then the second piece, page 2, 9.5 by 8 3/4, scoring at a 1/2 inch and 3/4, and folding back where the tape is. You can see the 1/4 inch gusset there. Lining it up again, just like a waterfall. And let's make sure. I think I gotta trim that a little bit. All right, so I had to trim that one a little bit because I think I might have cut my page 1 a little shorter than I was supposed to. All right, so that's good now. Yeah, let's stick that one down. There we go. And then the last one, page 3, that's 9.5 by 8 1/4, scoring on a 1/2 inch. And I guess that one looks right, so I must have just cut that page 2 off a little bit. one's good. And stick it down. And there we go. All right. So now we can go ahead and start building up some pages. All right, let's see what we do. The next piece that you're going to need is we're going to create little closures because these are going to basically work as two independent little books. So you need a piece that is 9.5 by 6, and you're going to score it a 1/2 inch and 1 inch. So you're basically mimicking the 1/2 inch gusset on this side because we're going to attach it over here. So I've already put my tape on, and we're going to go ahead and stick it down. Okay. All right, so we're going to open up our pages. And this is going to go, so you're going to fold back on the first score line. And this is going to go as close to the edge as possible. So you can see how close I am right here. That's probably a 1/16 of an inch. And just kind of want to make sure. I have to come down a little. That looks good. So I'm going to stick it down. Fold it back so we have our little gusset just like that. And then what it'll be is this will all close up, and this will be the cover to keep everything closed. Whether I decide to do a pocket and then we can have some photo mats to keep it closed, or even a pocket and a string closure, but we'll figure that out when we get that far. So let's just flip it around so I can do the other side. And this might be the last piece that's non-directional, and then you will have to make sure that your book will be working right and left side. Okay, and right up to that edge, we go further. Okay. All right, let's stick that down. Again, there's that little gusset. Everything folds over. And now we basically have two independent little books. So now we're going to go ahead and make a pocket for our album. So you're going to need two pieces that are 4.5 by 10.5. On the 10.5 inch side, you're going to score at a 1/2 inch at, or you're going to score at the 1/2 inch and at 10. Turn to the 4.5 inch side and score at a 1/2 inch. You're going to need two. Let's go ahead and trim these up. And these are going to go on the front. So basically the album that I am creating right now is an album I made back in 2019. And I'm repurposing my design with a little bit of changes. The size of the album is a little bit different. The other one was more landscape. This one's going to be a little more portrait. And as with everything over time, things change. You realize maybe something should have been a little bit different. So that's what I am doing. Okay, and just make sure those are all burnished down. Okay, and open up our cover we just put on. I'm going to just flatten this down so I can get it even. So we're attaching this to the score line over here on this side of the score line because, again, this is our gusset, which would be similar to your spine. So that is going to go right on. and line it right up. You can go right up to the score line, just don't go past it because your book's not going to fold nice, but you can get it right up to that line. As a matter of fact, you probably would want to. And then that will fold over, and that keeps everything contained. So I'm going to flip it so I can do it to the other side. Again, fold it down. Looks good. Fold it back, and there we go. All right, so the next step, you're going to need the Heartfelt Creations album tags and accents, and it is HCD 1-7202. Now, if you don't have this die and you don't plan on getting the die, I will leave actual measurements for what you can cut down in the description box, but we're going to be working with this die here. So to start with, you're going to need to cut 4 of your dies, and we are using the larger one. So this would be what your pattern paper is, your black paper or whatever cardstock you're using, and then the thinner one is for pattern paper. So you're going to cut 4 of those to start, but you will need more, and I'll explain why in a minute. So on 2 of them, you're going to go ahead and score at a 1/2 inch like this. And on the other 2, you're actually going to score these 2 at 2 inches. And that's only because we don't need the whole thing. But instead of having you like trim it down and cut it, we're just going to score it at 2 inches. I can't pick it up. And we're just going to apply some tape to it. So it stays stuck. And you're going to do this for both sides. I've already done one side so I could get all of my measurements correct. So we can go ahead and fold back and furnish. Now the 2-inch score mark ones, these are going to be your side pieces. So what we're going to do first is find my ruler, and we need to find the center. And I lost my pencil already. You can use this one. So on here, this is a 4-inch piece, so we're just going to make a little mark at 2 inches. So you can't see that. You see now? Yep. So right there at the 2-inch mark, and we can do it to the second piece. Also has a little mark. And let's grab our book. Now I've already done this side. We're going to work over here. Oh, there's my pencil. We're going to work over on this side. So open up your book. And because this page here is 9.5 inches, 4 3/4 down would be your center point. So over here on the side with the gusset, so whether you're working on this side or the other side, you're going to make a little mark. And we're going to go at, you can erase it afterwards. So we're going to make a little mark at 4 3/4. And we're going to go over to this side. And we're going to make another mark at 4 3/4. So you can see my little mark there. And over here, you can see it right there. So now we're going to take this, and the dot that you made here, you're going to line it up. So you're basically, can you see the other one? Make it darker. So you're basically going to line these up just like that. Okay. And you're going to come down to, so this is where it folds, so you want to make sure you're to the score line but not over it. line it up nice and even. So you can see right there. And it's not going to interfere with my page folding. And then the other side, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to line this tick mark up with that one, and obviously you're going to cover this one because you're going to put that fold right up to the edge of the paper. So the only tick mark you need to erase will be the one on your tag. So line it all the way up, right to the edge. And that will just ensure that your tags are going to be lined up even. Okay. And now we're going to take these two pieces here. We're going to do the same thing again. We're going to go ahead and mark them at 2 inches. Okay. And the other one, so I am folding over the tape part I have. Okay. And now you are going to take your book and open up the little flaps you just put on. We are working only on the top page here. So what we're going to do is from the score line on this side, or if you're working on the other side, it's going to be backwards. You are going to take this and mark at 2 1/4 inches. Okay. And then from the other side here, we're going to measure over 2 1/4 inches and put a mark. Okay. You can see that. Let's see. You can see I had it. You can see this one and the other one's right there. So what we're going to do is take these tags. We have our little 1/2 inch mark there. And the same thing we just did on the sides, we are going to make sure we are lining up our little 2 tick marks together. So I'm just going to turn my book so I can get it even. So I am lining it up all the way to the top. Make sure I'm on my right page. And okay, I'm going to stick that one down. And you can see I am all the way to the top there. Take my second one, same thing again, tick mark to tick mark, line it up. And I am off. Hold on. Something's off because I should not be that tight. 2 1/4. 2 1/4. Maybe I'm okay. Okay, it's a little tighter on this page than the other, so maybe I cut my base page a little off. So I'm going to line it up. And you just want to make sure that these two pieces here aren't overlapping. So if it is, just slide it over a tad. So I'm going to move mine over a smidge. So there I have, you can see the space I have now there. You don't need a big space, but you do need a little space. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a bunch more of these. They're going to be a waterfall coming down. And then these two pieces here are going to have a little string closure to hold everything together. But we're not going to go ahead and add the rest until we decorate because we need to put pattern paper down here first. And then we can go ahead and do the rest. So this guy belongs over on this side. Closes up. And then I already did this side here. As you can see, I had a little bit more of a gap, so I must have folded that one just a little off, or cut it a little off rather. And then over here, this is going to close, and we're actually going to end up putting another tag on top, but again, not until we put pattern paper on. Put a little tag on the top here, and then a little string closure. Okay, so now this next piece here we're going to create, and this is actually just going to be an acetate page. It's because of how I'm going to work the book with the next page we're going to create. So this is one of the things that I had learned that I'm improving on from my original design. So You're going to start off a piece that is 9.5 inches. I chose 6 across, but we're not going to keep all of it. We need to trim it down some, but we're going to go ahead. So 9.5 inches, because that's the height of our pages. So we're going to start off with some score lines. So the first one you're going to need is a 1/2 inch. Oops, and I think I slipped. Did I slip? I felt it move. Yeah, I did. All right, so first one is a 1/2 inch. The second one is going to be 5/8. So this is going to have, make sure I don't move again, a very thin little gusset there. So you can see what we have right there. And then our next one, maybe if I hold it better. Our next one we need to move up basically a 1/2 inch. So that is going to put us at 1 1/8. So 1 1/8. Then we're going to go 1 5/8. And we're going to go 2 1/8 and 2 5/8. So we're basically making 1/2 inch lines. Now you need to keep this as straight as possible. So if you have somewhere you can guide it well, it's going to be 9.5 by 2 5/8. However, I'm not 100% sure that my paper trimmer is going to make me even. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to cut off this 2 5/8 line so I get exactly what I want. And when I cut it, I'm going to cut it just to this side of the score line. So I'm going to cut it onto this side because I don't want any kind of wonky score marks there. So that's what I just cut off. And you can see kind of where my score mark was here. Okay, so now we're going to have to go and make some folds. Okay, I don't need this piece. So we're going to start, and we're going to start by folding back on the first score line. And then the 5/8. And then I'm going to fold on all my other score lines. So it's basically similar to creating a hinge system without. So now I'm going to flip it over and fold it the backwards way. That way it'll all flow nice. And that little 1/8 inch gusset might be a little tricky for you, but not too bad. All right, so we're going to do this in stages. So first thing is go ahead and with the 5/8 inch on this side, fold over this piece here and make sure that you are pretty much up to that line. If you have to trim, trim. You shouldn't have to, and it shouldn't make too much of a difference. So I'm going to take my tape. Again, 5/8 is on this side. I'm going to add my tape. Okay, just like that. And now I'm going to remove it, and I'm just going to fold it down over on itself. Just like that. Okay. And then the second piece, we're going to do the same thing. So now I'm going to add, so right where the 5/8 inch line is, I'm going to put tape to the right side of that, making sure I'm not getting stuck in any of my score lines. And I'm going to fold this over like that. Okay. So I'm sticking this piece to this piece, and this piece is what we already stuck down. So you can, that's already doubled up right here. Okay, and this is what we have right now, and this little piece here. Now what you want to do is right here, so this is all the mess right in here. We are going to take, and this is all going to come up on top. So we're going to have a nice clean edge right here. Okay, So this is the inside, similar to if you make a hinge, you're going to see all that. Bring this up over on top, or you could just flip it. And we're going to put the tape on this side. Okay. So then basically we're going to have it looking like this. So if you open it up, all the mess is right there. The tape is on this side. When we stick this down, this will be all on top. And what you want to do now is the little spot here that you just made, you want to put some score tape in there for now. I am using 1/4 inch and I'm putting it in the middle. And this is where we're going to stick our acetate page. However, we're not really going to attach the acetate page till decorating and closer to the end. And that is only because we don't want to scratch up the acetate doing all the decorating and adding pages. So again, let me walk you through. Over here is all of our mess. This flips over like this. And our acetate page is going to stick in between these two here. So let's go ahead and add this to the book. So I already did this side. We're going to do this side. So this is our book open, our flap with our pocket. Open this all the way up like this. This is the page that we did that's going to be our waterfall. And this one is going to get attached just like this, right up to the edge, like that. So we can stick that down. And this piece has to be done before we continue because it'll be a lot harder afterwards to attach it. I'm going to put it right up to our gusset. And open all that up and stick it down. And if you see now, right here, this is the gusset for that page, and then this here will be our acetate page, and it's just going to flip back and forth. That way, what I have on this page is not going to get hung up over here because of the string closures here, and I'm going to have one on this side. Too much of this stuff, they're going to connect to each other, and it's going to cause havoc with trying to open the book. Things are going to get folded or messed up. So this way we're going to put a nice little acetate page that's just a decorated. You don't even have to decorate it if you want. It can just be a page just to keep everything playing nice. So this will go back this way. And I already did it on this side here. That's where that one is. Again, keeping everything playing nice. All right, so now let's go ahead and decorate that page. All right, for the next section now, you're going to need one piece that is 9 by 5.5, and you're going to score on, I'm sorry, hold that thought, 9 by 5, and you're going to score on the 5-inch side at 1/2 inch, and we're going to create this little flap here, and then you're going to need 6 pieces that are going to be 3 by 5.5. And you're going to score on each end at 1/2 inch, and then on the 3-inch side at 1/2 inch, we're going to make pockets. These are going to be stack pockets. So you need to do 3 of them, 2 tape with tapes on the side, and then 3 of them tape all the way around. So let's get these pieces prepped. So we're going to trim all this back. And then these ones here. You don't have to do anything to the flat piece. There's no trimming needed on that one. Last one. So don't get ahead of yourself on these pieces here, because if you do, it's going to interfere with decorating later. So we're going to open up our little flap. This is the page with the pocket. Open up, that's going to be the waterfall page. This is the little dooflicky we added. So we are going to be working on this page here. We're going to be working on the cut edge over here, and on the other side, you're just doing the same thing, but you're doing in the opposite. So instead of putting this piece on the left, you're going to be putting it on the right. So let's go ahead, get this one burnished. Okay, this piece here. So again, we're on the flap, and we are going to center it to the space and bring it all the way to the edge. So this is 9 inches, the page is 9.5, so roughly it's a 1/4 inch top and bottom. Here, whoops. As we got, this is the last page. So now we're going to take this piece here, and let's start. You're going to need one of those and one of those. Let's get all folded. And this piece here. Okay, take our book. Now we're going to go ahead and put this piece down first, and go ahead and make it closer, even though it's going to be exactly the space of your page, so that the pocket's 4.5 inches and your page here is 4.5. Put it closer to the cut edge of your little flap. So once it looks good, go ahead and stick it down. I'm going to go from the side first. And this one's going to go down. And then our stacked pocket is just going to go right in here. Again, same thing. Try to stay closer to the cut edge. Okay, and now we're going to open that up, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put pockets on this part now, doing the same thing. So you're going to need one of these and one of these. Get rid of some of this mess. And then this one, we're just going to fold these two. All right, and then on our flap, we just added the 2 to the front. We're going to go 2 to the back. And again, same thing, go closer to the cut edge. You don't want anything to interfere with that score line, so. Okay, and then make sure you can still flap you back and forth. And we're going to go ahead and put this one right in here. Same thing, closer to the cut. And if you're careful with your cuts, you should be able to get it lined up perfect. And then we're going to go ahead, and we got 2 more now. So these ones, again, don't get ahead of yourself. And this one, and I think I'm about to have people home. So let's see if we can get this finished real quick. So this is the flat piece we just opened up. We're going to attach these 2 pockets down here. However, we are only attaching part of it. Alright, so let's try this again. We're going to go ahead and stick the pocket right here, but we're only going to attach, whoops, I just moved it. So all the way to the bottom and to the side. Why do I keep feeling like I'm moving that? Because I'm trying to rush. Because I'm not alone now. So now it's going to be chaos. Alright, and then this one here, we're going to go ahead and pretend like the side is stuck down. Oops. And stick this. So we need to go ahead and put pattern paper down here first, and then we can finish attaching the rest of these. Otherwise, it will be a little more challenging, and I want to make decorating easy as possible. So we'll just do those ones after. However, this is where we are right now. And then this side I already did. So the flap is on the right-hand side now, and then these are not attached. And you can see why now. You can see why now where we're going to put our acetate page, so none of this stuff will get all jumbled up. So now we're going to go ahead and work on the back side. Alright, so for the next section you're going to need two pieces that are 4 3/4 by 6 1/4, and two pieces that are 6 3/4 by 4 1/4. These are going to be photo mats. On the 4 3/4 inch one, 1/2 inch, that's going to leave you a usable space of 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. And then on the 6 3/4 inch piece, you're going to score it 1/2 inch, and again giving you a 4 1/4, 6 1/4 usable space. Let's go ahead, fold and burnish. Now I'm probably going to be adding some stuff to these flaps, and I might make some of them pockets, but I'll figure that out when we get to decorating. I may just leave them the same too. We shall see. Okay. Now, I already did the other side, so we're going to go over here, open up our flap, envelope pocket, stacked waterfall, little photo flaps. That's going to come over, and we are putting it on this piece here. So let's start. We are going to go ahead and start. We're going to put this piece here down the bottom corner. I'm going to come all the way to the bottom, and I'm leaving a little space. I'm not measuring nothing. It is all random. So that one on the bottom, and I'm going to offset the one to the top. So I'm going to come closer to this side on this one. Okay. And let's stick this one down. Just like that. And then now I've got these two pieces. This is going to come up. So because I have a lot of space here, I'm going to go ahead and put this one to the upper part. Just like that. Stick it down. And then again, with this open space here, I'm going to put this one closer to the bottom. Again, coming up close to the score line, but not going over so I don't interfere with my pages folding. And then we have all of this. That's going to all close up. All right, so, and then we put everything back, folds over, and then let me show you this side. Pocket, waterfall, fun little pocket. Open up, and then that's where I put this one here. So now we're going to move on to the next one. And as you can see, those gussets are doing good because we are starting to build layers. And it'll be fun. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and work on the next page. So right here is the pocket, waterfall, this little page here. And then we just had created this, so now we're moving on to this side here. This is our cut side is on the edge. So you're going to need to make another one of those acetate pocket, the acetate hinge system. So you need to make another one of those. So I'm not going to show you how to make it because you can see it in the video, but you have it right here. And I will notate that in the description box where I give you the cutting measurements and stuff. I will comment in there that you'll need to make more. So hopefully you'll see that and go ahead and have those already made. So you're going to go to the cut edge here, and we're going to attach this down there. Make sure none of the tape is showing. Stick it right up on that. So you have it right here, all attached, just like that. And now what you're going to need is, you're going to need one piece 9.5 by 7 1/4, scoring at a 1/2 inch on the 7 1/4 inch side. Another piece 9.5 by 6 1/4, scoring at a 1/2 inch. And you're going to need to make 2 more tags and cut those out, score at a 1/2 inch, and apply the tape. We are going to start with the bigger piece. We're going to fold that back, burnish that down, and we are going to go ahead and start. Now this is going to go, hold on one second, I forgot what direction we go in. So from the inside. So this piece here is going to go towards the inside. Just be careful of the page here where it does go. You don't want it to block anything here. So go ahead and put it on and just give it a hair's distance away from that fold line. Make sure you're even top to bottom. Looks good. I'm going to stick this one down. And everything should fold nice still. And then you're going to go ahead and take your 6 1/4 inch piece. Now this will give you some pages if you want to go ahead and make some layouts. Gives you some pages to go ahead and do that. This piece here, we're going to go right on top. And this one can be literally right on top of the other piece. Make sure we're all lined up. Stick that one down. And now we have our tags. So what we want to do, just like we did before, we're going to go ahead and mark these at 2 inches. To find the center. Same thing with this one. Two inches. So we're going to take our first one, and our first one is going to go right on the top of here. It is 9.5 inches, so we know that we need to come down 4 3/4. And we can go ahead and stick the first one on, making sure you're lining up the little tick marks to each other. And then over here, same thing. I'm going to mark it at 4 3/4. I'm marking it on my little acetate hinge here. Lining it up. Just be careful of your hinge. You don't block it. So you have that 1/8 inch gusset right there. And that's what you have here. So this will all be tied down. That's why you need your acetate page, so it keeps everything from getting caught. And that will be like that. And then everything will fold back over. Just like that. And then let me show you, oops, real quick. This side here opens up pocket, waterfall, little flap, and then that is our little photo mats that we did. We'll probably add some pockets, and then this piece right here all on here. And now we just have to finish this and the back cover. All right, so for the next piece, you need to cut a piece that is 10.5 by 4.5. You're going to score on the 4.5 inch side at a 1/2 inch, and on the 10.5 inch side at a 1/2 inch, and at 10. This is going to be a big pocket, so we're going to trim this. And go ahead and fold back on those score lines and burnish it down. And we're going to go ahead and open up pocket, waterfall, this guy, stack pockets, this one, and we're over here, and this is going to go like this right here, keeping it close to the score line but not going over it because you don't want to interfere with your page flipping. Make sure you're all lined up. Make sure you're leaving a little space. Stick that down. Just like that. And then you can flip it all back over, and then I already did this side. Let me show you. And I went ahead and put it right here, and we just have the inside, front, and back covers left to go ahead and do. All right, so the last piece that we need, we're going to do this for the inside, front, and back cover of the album pages, or the cover pages there. So you're going to need a piece 8 by 8. You're going to score it a 1/2 inch on all 4 sides, and then you're going to put this in your paper trimmer. So pretend like this is still together. You're going to put this in your paper trimmer and slice down, so then that way you're going to have these 2 corner pockets. Now, to me, when you put it together, it reminds me of what it would look like, a vest underneath a tuxedo. So I'm going to nickname these my tuxedo pockets, just to be funny. And you will see what I mean in a second. Okay, and then let's burnish everything down. All right, and let's take our book. We are going to open all the way up to the end. So we're not going to completely stick this down, and I'll show you why in a second. So we're going to go ahead, line this up, again, close to the bottom, leaving a little bit of space, and almost all the way to where the gusset is, but you don't want anything to hang up on here. So once stick that. Now I'm only going to stick the outside pieces down, and I'm going to put this one on, same thing, lining it up to the bottom pocket and almost all the way over to the gusset, but not quite because we don't want it to interfere. And see, that's what I mean. It reminds me of like a vest and a tuxedo. So we're going to go ahead and leave these unattached just yet, because sometimes when you're decorating corner pockets, they do get a little challenging to try to tuck things in if it's all attached. So we're just going to make this simple, and we're going to attach it after we put our pieces on. But anyway, all of this is done, all the construction part, and then we just show you the back one here. I went ahead and did that. So now we get to decorate, and I will come back and forth showing you some more parts in the decorating process. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to get started, and we are going to decorate the waterfall page over here. So what you're going to need to do is cut out 14 more tags, And then what you're going to do is put them in your scoreboard, score it a 1/2 inch, and add tape. And these are going to become your photo mats. And I went ahead and I laid down my pattern paper here. Just measure between your tags side to side here, and then from the tags here down, I went 1/4 inch smaller. This one happened to be 9 1/4 by 8 1/4, but go ahead and measure first, just because if you put these tags any differently than I did, that's going to affect your measurements. So what we need to do is grab a ruler and a pencil. If this one has any lid or not. All right, and we need to make a little mark because we just need to make our spacing correct. So I'm just going to turn it sideways, and what I want to do is from where this folds here at the score line, measure down a 1/2 inch, because when you start adding the rest of these, the spacing is a 1/2 inch from your flap. So you want to start out even too on here. So from my score line down, I'm going to just put a little mark at a 1/2 inch. You can see that one, and over here. And I'm going to put my paper right on that, so it should cover that. But anyway, I went ahead and made some little, I don't know if you can see it there. The paper's too dark. I made some little marks. So again, I'm just going to turn it sideways just because it's easier for me to line up and work on. So we're going to go ahead and take our first tag, fold it over, and I'm going to find where my marks are. And line it up. Now I also want to make sure that my tags are going to be even. So I'm going to bring down the first one and make sure that I am all lined up. Just double checking all my marks. Whoops, I just slipped. Okay, that looks good. And I'm going to hold it and stick down my first one. And I look good there. And I'm going to do the same thing to the next one. I'm going to go over here, make sure I find my marks. And if you, as long as you can get your first one on straight, like the original one, then the rest should hopefully line up straight. And these, because I cut with a die, I know that I didn't cut crooked. So and those two look good to me. So now I'm just going to continue on attaching them. So I'm going to take the next piece, fold it over. I'm going to butt it right up against this one here. And then I'm only taking one down, making sure I look even. Next one. So we will be adding 7 more to each side. And I'm just going to continue down, doing the same thing all the way down. So I'm going to pause for a minute because you know what I'm doing now, because I just did those 3. And then I'll come back when I finish. So the next part that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make our string closure to close all of that up. So what I did was I'm using the 12 by 12 and the 8 by 8. So this was the 12 by 12 part page, and this is one from the 8 by 8. So I'm using the same pattern, I just went with the smaller print. And considering this piece here is not long, I don't need to use the full length of this die. You can see how much. I really only needed about 4 inches, so I was able to just cut the 8x8 in half. And what I'm going to do now is I need to do a little trimming first. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on, line it up where I need it, and then I'm going to trim off a little piece of it here. And about that. And do we fit good? We do, so I'm just going to ink the edges of that one. And then the same thing to the other side. Oops. Trim that one. And looks good. So what I also did was, for my closure, because it's going to be a string closure, I went ahead and cut out 2 pieces of circles with some dies. You can use punches, doesn't matter. And the size of what I'm using actually is, I'm determining on the size of the design what I want to be seen on here. So I have these 2 circles. So the first thing I need to do is go ahead and put a hole in the center of this, and I'm just going to kind of guess, actually right where that dot is looks good, and because this has words on it, I want to make sure I'm pretty much centered because I want to see most of my words. So I can tell I'm a little off, but that's quite okay. And then my B, and then now I'm going to take these pieces here and I'm going to line up where I want to put this. So, and I want to have a little bit of room here, so I'm going to put a mark there. And then this guy right there. Now I'm going to go ahead and punch. Just like that. And then I have my brads. There's one. These are just brads from the stash. So I'm going to take my first one, and I normally do like brads that are a little longer. To me, that's a little too short. Just if you pull on it, it could come up. And what I'm doing is I'm holding the brad down and just wiggling the paper to kind of get it a little lifted. So when you do put it on, it does have a little bit of curve to it, so it's not going to sit super flat. And I'm going to go ahead and put it on. And same thing with the other one. Like that. It's hot here today. I have my air conditioner on, and it sounds like it was just about to expire on me. Alright, so now I'm just going to add some tape to the back, and then I can stick these down. And I'm also going to put a piece of tape over here. Sometimes I use glue, sometimes just tape. Probably feel like I should use glue on that, but we're going to wing it. And hopefully it doesn't come off. If it does, I am using score tape, so if it should come off, I can just use undo and take the whole piece off. And again, you can glue, and I'm out of tape. So I have tape all around it. So now I'm going to stick it down. So I'm going to put the first one down and line it up. And this is coming out so cute. I can't wait to show you the acetate pages, how to do those. Those actually worked really well. So, and then this side. And then the only thing left for this one is to do the string closure, which you're probably going to want to do sooner than later, only because of all these photo mats. If you try to decorate other stuff without being able to keep those closed down, you might bend them, and they're just going to be annoying if you don't. Okay, and then I have my string. Doesn't matter whatever side you want it to go on. And I have these cute little bead charms I also had from my stash, so those worked out pretty good. You don't need even to put on a charm. And there you go. So that page is all together. So the next one is, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same exact thing here. I'm just going to put on a string closure over here, but we need to go ahead and put down our pattern paper first here, and then we can go ahead and attach those pockets. So this page, I cut out a piece. Again, make sure you measure, just because your measurements might be a little different than mine, but I'm going 1/4 inch smaller again from top and bottom and side to side. So this goes down like this. And then these ones, now your pockets can come over. So I'm going to remove my tape. Make sure your pocket here is tucked under. So it would be just as if you did it. If you do it this way, then you could probably do it, but it might bind up. So just make sure your little flap for your bottom pocket is right there. And I'm just going to make sure they're lined up and stick it down. So on here with this little flap, I'm going to go ahead and put my string closure on. You're going to attach your string closure just like you did here. You're going to cut out your pattern paper, determine the size of your circles if you want. You don't even have to put a closure on it, but I am. And then just go ahead and put your string closure down here, and that will work just like this, so it keeps everything contained, and this will keep everything in their pockets. So again, just mat these here like normal, and then add your string closures just like that. Alright, so just to show you what I'm doing, I chose this paper and then just some plain pattern paper to kind of make it pop off of here. And if you're wondering why I chose what I chose, so this paper here, I chose this one because it complements this side, so they kind of match a little bit. And then for these little guys, I matched here. Same reason, they'll kind of complement. So when you do have it open as a layout, you can kind of see how it's working. So on this one here, because this pocket is higher than this pocket, I put this one on first, and of course it's all closed up, and I set this one on, and I'm just going to go ahead and decide where it looks best without interfering too close to the edge. And then I'm just going to go ahead and attach that one. And then I'm just going to add my tape and stick it down and then add my string. So this one here is going to go like that, and then it's a little bit of an angle. And I probably, just because of the height of this one, I think I'm going to go ahead and tie the string to this side and then just wind it. And only because it is up a little higher, I don't want any tension going from the lower one up. This way it won't like be pulling on here too much. As long as you don't make it too tight, it's not going to do that anyway, but I think I'm going to tie to this side. Alright, so the next one that we're going to work on is this one here with all the little photo flaps. And then when they're all open, you have room to put loose photos and stuff in here, and then they all close down and they stay together. So we're going to go ahead and create some pockets. So the first thing you need is a piece that is 4 by 6, scoring at a 1/2 inch on one side and a 1/2 inch on the bottom. So you're going to kind of make a little L. So first thing, we need to trim back. So we can go ahead and fold these. And burnish them down. This is what you have. And now what you want to do is put this in your paper trimmer, and you are going to cut from this corner to this corner. So you're cutting this part off. So this is what I just did, and that's the back side. And then this one is going to go on your top pocket. Did I do that? I feel like my size might be off. Hold on. Just want to make sure I did the same on this side. I did. Okay. So this is just going to go right on here, all the way to the side and all the way to the bottom of your flap. Stick that one down, and then your bottom pocket is going to be 3.5 by 5 1/4, scoring on each side a 1/2 inch, the bottom. We're going to trim that up. And then this one is going to go just like this, right on top of that flap, all the way to this side, top and bottom. Make sure it should line up perfectly around. And then now your string closure, I'm going to put one in the center here and then one here, and then they'll just tie back and forth just like that. So this is the pattern paper I'm going to be using for this one. So this one will go right here, put a little string closure on this part, and to go ahead and measure out your corner pocket here as to what size, I went ahead and measured right up here. It's 3.5 inches, so my pattern paper is 3 1/4. And then what I'm going to do is put this, line this up where I want it. And I'm going to go ahead and make a little tick mark down here, roughly where I want to trim it. And then I'm going to cut from this corner to my mark. And that looks good, so I'm going to ink that up as well. Alright, so I already stuck this guy down and this one here. So what I want to do is put this roughly where I want it, and then I'm going to determine on this one. Now I want to make sure not too close to the end. I don't want to pop a hole and then find out like this is sticking out everywhere, although that could be super cute depending on what you do. But I'm going to put it here, and I think I'm going to put it about here. No reason, it's just because that's what looks good to me. And then I'm just going to go ahead and do the same and stick everything down. And then that is stuck down just like that. And then I'm just going to go ahead and add my string closure. And then that's what's going to keep all of that in place. So it'll keep all your little pockets closed up nice. So if you have any loose photo mats inside all of that, they are not going to fall out. And just like that. So then this page on this side here, you know how we did it over here. Again, identical. Just determine where you want to put it. So depending on what way it opens and closes, I think I want this one on top. So I'll put my circle closure here and then one over here. So this is what I went with. I used one of the pocket cards because I wanted the saying on it. So it actually fit. It was pretty tight. As you can see, the full word is kind of right to the edges on those. And then I went with the green over here, and then I used the circle from this collection to complement this, and then also matches these. And then I went with a yellow one to go ahead and match this and then bring this one together. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one roughly where I want it, and then my closure, I'm going to bring it back just a little more, and then go ahead and attach those down. And that's what we look like. We're just going to go ahead and put our closure on. And there we go. All right, so we have that. The only thing left is this. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to use an 8x8 sheet, but I'm going to show you a way, because of how big this is, I'm going to show you a way to go ahead and use an 8x8 sheet without wasting a lot of paper. That's why we left that off. And the only other closure we need right now would be the top, which is just the same as this. So that will be easy there. So let me decide what I'm doing here, and I will show you this one. Okay, so if you're not using directional paper, it doesn't matter too much what paper you use, because then you could just cut it and then use it the other way. However, I'm going to use some directional paper. So the first thing I want to do is determine where I'm cutting. So for this one here, so I'm lining it up, and I'm going to go ahead and make my marks where I need to trim. And I'm going to cut that. And that's going to fit right in there. Okay. Now what I want to do with this piece is I'm going to go ahead and set it over here. It's going to go there. But because some of this is being hidden under here, I don't have to worry about it. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and take this piece here, and I'm going to line it up again where I want it, leaving my space in that I want. And I'm going to go ahead and make some marks. Here. And I can't see my marks. So let's try it again. Alright, so I see that one. That one's right there. Alright, now I'm going to hold it so I can see it. So there I'm going. And that's what I have. So when I go ahead, I'm going to ink my edges and then add tape. This is going to come down so you can see right there that that will cover that. And then this guy will go right here. So that's one way you can use to go ahead and save a whole sheet. If you're using a larger 12 by 12, you might have enough left to go ahead and do this. However, I am too short up here, so that wouldn't work. You know what would be cute too is a little flap, a little pocket flap. That would be cute. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and attach these down and then just a regular basic sheet to go ahead and cover that up. So I have this one down right here. So now I can actually go ahead and attach this piece. And then this one here now, I can go ahead and just attach over there. And then I can just attach this piece and that will be done. Alright, now the fun part. So you're going to need to cut a piece of acetate that is 9.5 by 7.5. And this is kind of the whole reason why I designed this album. So these acetate pages are going to go in your little flaps right here. And they're going to line up and they're going to go right along here. And this is what's going to keep all of this here from bumping into each other and causing the paper to bend or other issues with it, getting it caught on itself. So we're going to do one side at a time. More of the cut edge of my acetate is going to go inside here. Now it is a little tricky, be careful because the acetate loves to stick to this tape like right away. So this should be the same height as your hinge. And what you want to do is start at the bottom, go to the corner, kind of hold it a little bit so it kind of keeps it a little curled up but a little more sturdy. And I'm going all the way right to the inside here. And I'm going to just kind of walk it down. Just like that. And then once you know you have it stuck right, this one went even. I did have some issues on the other side. It did give me a hard time, but and now it opens nice. I'm going to put a little strip of pattern paper here, but now nothing is going to get stuck. So now I need to go ahead and add one on this side here. Alright, and now I'm going to go ahead and stick this one on. However, I had more success doing it from the other direction. So I'm going to flip my book around. And I'm going to stick this down. And I put this one. And now this page here will keep everything from hanging up on that one. And then because you did it like a hinge, just like a page, it is going to lay nice and flat. Same thing with this one, nice and flat. And then you have that. And that is pretty much all of the little bits. This here, just a regular string closure, just like we did. I think there's enough space here. So otherwise, I might go ahead and put another acetate page on, but I don't think I'm going to need it because there is quite a bit of space in here. And if I wanted to, I could always put something in the middle too. All right, so anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do some decorating, and I'm going to decide whether I'm going to leave that or maybe add something because there is quite a bit of space there. So we'll see. All right, so I went ahead and I created another acetate hinge to put over here because these two pages are rubbing against each other. I had somebody who's not really a crafter go looking at the book, and it did start to jack up my little tabs here. So as a safety precaution, we're going to go ahead and add another acetate page. This piece though is a little wider because the pages we put it on were smaller. So this piece here is 9.5 by 8, and I'm going to go ahead and stick this right in here. And just like before, I'm going to turn it around because it was easier for me to put it like this. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on. Just like that. And then stick it down. And there we go. So now I don't have to worry about any ribbons here. Everything will be all protected. Slides right on over. No need, I don't think, to go ahead and put one on this side. It might be a little overkill. If you want to even it out, you certainly can. However, I'm just going to leave mine like it is. Okay, so let me show you what I've got done so far. So this is what I did with the cover. I went ahead and put this paper on, and I like how that looks, but I wanted to make a shaker cover for the top, which is what I had used on the original album. So what I did was I went ahead and cut out this image right here, and then I added a couple layers of foam tape. And I also took the second page of this and I fussy cut it, and I've added one layer of foam tape here, and I have 2 layers here. So this will only sit part way up, and I'm going to go ahead and add it just like that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the tape and stick this down. So I put the tape around the outside edges right here, and then kind of at the bottom, so that way none of my shaker elements are going to get inside and get lost. Hopefully not. So, but I did fussy cut it, and I inked all the edges. And I'm going to stick this on, and then I have a bunch of shaker stuff to throw in, and then I'm going to put acetate over the top of it. Okay, and I'm going to line this up. Hopefully I get it pretty good, and it looks to be pretty good. So I have that now. You can see it's going to have a little bit of depth to it, and then my shaker elements. So some is for my stash. And I also get it all out. I'm also using doodads, and this one is Gold Rush. Figured it matched the paper pretty well. So the thing I'm going to do is take a moment and flip some of these little pieces around, because the depth of this, they're not going to be able to flip around on their own. So if I can flip them all the right direction, they shouldn't, I'm hoping, they should not flip back. Or theoretically, they should not flip back. So give me a moment. I'm going to start flipping those, and then I'm going to cut a piece of acetate to put over the top. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of wing wrapping this. So what I did was I grabbed a piece of 12 by 12 cardstock, And what I'm going to do to start with, oops, hitting that, is I'm going to go ahead and score at 2 inches. And I'm setting this piece on top. And it looks like 9.5. Okay, and let's rotate it. And let's do, can I get it right? Let's go 1.5 inches. And 10. So technically this should fit right inside here. Okay. And let's just go ahead and give this some folds first, just to be sure. And do we fit nice? Let's see. That looks good. That looks good. Now I don't do... Alright, so the side that we've just been folding on. So this piece here is... I am 1/2 inch. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, what is it, half? A 5/8 inch border. So I am going to go 5/8. So 1/2 inch. So what I'm doing is where the crease is here, my tape itself, the black tape, is 1/2 inch. So if you go 1/2 inch over, and then I want a little bit of the black for the cardstock wrapping around there. So I went 5/8. So I'm going to do that all the way around. Can I just mark it instead? Might be easier. I'm having a hard time seeing that black line. Okay. Alright, and then what I'm going to do is cut out the inside. Line it up. And let's see if that worked. I don't even know where that idea just came from, but let's see. So if I take this So technically, if it goes in like that, so if I put it on just like that, oops, ah. So then I wrap it just like that. So let's see. So what am I going to do? Let's cut out these squares. Okay, and let's see, I need to be able to fold it, and this is 1/4 inch. So let's get this again. Oops. Alright, so we folded 2 inches there, so now we're going to back it up to 1 3/4, and same there, 1 3/4. And this one was on the other side, so let's go back over here. So I did that one at 9 1/2. Oops. So now we'll go 9 3/4. And the reason I'm doing this is because you have the little bit of spacing over here, so it's not exactly, yeah, that little bit. So you're supposed to, when you score from that darker, longer line where that arrow is, which is not exactly all the way up against that edge. So that's why I'm doing it this way. And what was that, 10 1/2? So we're gonna go 10 3/4. This is probably confusing. If you go back and watch what I did, it might make sense, I hope. So now I take this piece, drop it in, and then that should come up and wrap and wrap and wrap. Look at that. I just totally winged that whole idea and it worked. Yay. Okay, let's go ahead and stick it down then. So I need some tape. And I'm going to go right up to that edge. Now, if it's too confusing, you know another way, go ahead and do whatever way you want to make a shaker cover, or just leave the cover the way it is. And you don't even have to do the shaker. Alright, so let's go back and hold on those original score lines to make it a little more squared off. And this is going to drop right in. So go right in like there. And the acetate I'm using has a film on it. So I just waited till I was ready to take it off. And let's take off the tape on one side. And make sure I'm squared up all the way over there. Okay. And then I'm going to just take the rest off. And then all this is going to fold right on down. There we go. Look at that. That's so cool. Alright, so let's, don't want any overhangs, so I'm going to trim back a little bit. Kind of like when you're wrapping with the covers. And this is the back side, so it's not like you're going to see any of this. Alright, so let's get some tape on. Now, if you're using different thickness of foam tape, it's obviously going to be a little different for you. Okay, back to where I was. So I'm going to go ahead, add the tape right here. I'm going to fold this one down. I'm just making sure I am up tight. And then the other side, I don't think I trimmed this one. It doesn't look trimmed. So the reason I'm wrapping it like this, so that way you don't see all the foam tape. And when we do it right now, it's going to have a nice clean cardstock fold on it. So it'll be just like that. And let's do the sides. I'm so excited that that worked. I totally winged that one. Okay, and then right up. And this side. And straight up again. That looks good. Just going to trim back some of that a little bit so it'll sit flat. There you go. Now I just got to go ahead and cut out a little piece for right there. And then that is going to go right on just like that. So I think I'm going to use, what am I going to use? Doesn't really matter too much because it's not like you're going to see very much of it. So it doesn't like that, does it? I think the red will look good. All right, stop making my camera go crazy. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I am going to measure this part here. So we are 7.5 by 8.5. So I am going to come in and make it 7 3/8 by 8 3/8. And that's what I'm going to go ahead and cut this piece up. And I'm going to stop with that because my camera don't like it. So I'm going to cut my piece first. Okay, so I didn't go 7 3/8 by 8 3/8. I went 7 5/16 by 8 5/16 because I needed a little more black to show. And good, maybe it's not going to go crazy. So as you can see, that part right there is going to fit nice. And if I bring it down a little, I can see that so it looks like 3/8. 3/8 inch border. So I'm going to go to this side here and I'm going to measure all the way around at 3/8 and trim that off. So I'm doing it on the back side. Get a different ruler. I use this one. The lines on that other one are not. I can't see the lines. Okay. Okay, so let's trim that out and see what we got. This should be super cute. And last one. And I don't want to pull it because I don't want it to tear. There we go. Let's see how we did size-wise. And that looks good, just like that. What do you think? So I'm going to go ahead and ink the edges, and then I'm just going to stick it down. I'm going to tape it so it fits on there just nice. What do you think? Looks pretty good, huh? Okay, so I went ahead and inked all of my edges on that, and then I put some score tape on the back of that, and I'm going to stick it down. So I'm debating on how I'm going to stick this down. So I know how I like to do it, but it's too thin. So what if I just take off one side? And hope for the best. That's good. Alrighty, that worked. Yay! Alright, awesome. Alright, the only thing now I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add a bunch of score tape to the back. Alright, so it's time to go ahead, and I have my tape on the back. So we're going to go ahead and stick this down. So I'm going to try opening this up and figuring out how much space I need. So this is 7.5, 9.5, half. So that should be 3/4 of an inch. Do I have spacers that are 3/4? I don't know. Oops. Let's see. It's 75. Don't think of anything that big. Okay, so let's get a couple of rulers. I know I have a second one somewhere. Okay, I know I have a second ruler, but I can't find it, so I'm going to use the big guy here. I don't know what I did with my other one. So I'm going to put this on 3/4. And then at the bottom, I'm going to go 3/4. And I should be able to, it looks even all the way around. Ah, well, not anymore. All right, let's take the tape off. And for this, I'm also going to add glue because it's a little hard to actually press this tape down because of the shaker part. So we're going to load it up with some glue as well. So we can get it to stick really, really well. Okay. All right. So move that off to the side and make sure I am 3/4 and 3/4 here. As long as I can get it to kind of stay. We're just going to go with it. Like I said, it's a little hard to push down. But hopefully with all of that glue and everything that we do stick pretty good. So that's what we got. So I'm gonna go ahead and let that dry. Alright, so the other thing I have not showed you yet is how to decorate the waterfall pages. So this is why I said you do this part at the end where you are going to have scraps, because you don't need the full thing. So this is actually only 2 inches and I don't really need that much of that one. So I went ahead and I got it taped down. Okay. And we just need this little piece. I've already done them, but I didn't do the insides of them yet, so I'm going to show you what the best way is to do that. So the photo mats that I used on this, they were 4 by 3 3/4. So, okay, so I already did this right here. And the way I did those is, I'm going to show you. So let's go to one where there's not so much. So I'm going to turn it around. So what I did was, let me move this up. I don't want to get that caught on anything. Okay. So what I did was I cut out my piece and then I laid it pretty much where I wanted it to go with the amount of black border that I have. And then I just slide it a little over so I can see a little bit of the white. Make a line just under the white. And then the same thing, I move it back the other way. And make a little line again. So I have my little tick marks right there and right there. Trim it off. So I trimmed that little piece off like that. And then I just go ahead and make sure it's good, line it up, and attach it. And that's what I did for all of those. Alright, and then over here, another pocket. I just went ahead and stopped my video because it looked like I was starting to lag. I don't know why my videos are starting to do that now. It's so annoying. And lots of room for photos. So I think this half of the book ended up becoming my favorite one. And as you can see, the pages just flip over. Nice and flat. And nothing jams up. And then we just close it all up. So I will have a tutorial coming out shortly. It's going to take me a little bit to edit all the videos because it was quite a video process to make all, although it was super easy. And like I said, I might adjust the thickness of this part here just because you can see it's kind of pregnant looking. And it still doesn't even have photos in it. It's just the photo mats and stuff. Although if you were to take off the photo mats off the waterfall, just add photos, you would be fine. But I might increase that part a little bit. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little walkthrough. This album was so much fun to make, and it is a recreation. So I will leave a link down below to the original album that I made in 2019. And anyway, till next time, guys. Happy crafting. If you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, and until next time, bye.